Wisdom de Costa, would like to introduce your motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for permitting me to speak at this critical time on the issue of ambition and achievement, so vital for our children. Members, thank you for listening and considering this opportunity, which Alan Nigel Topping is, to create a positive ambition loops to influence governments to act further and faster on climate action, to align ourselves clearly Paris's 1.5 degree standards, and to place climate action at the heart of our intentions for our children. So a word of induction. Remember, members, it's our job to set the ambition and aspirations, the policy, which will then allow officers to enable achievement. If we have a low ambition, we'll have a low achievement. So this resolution, I'll say again, seeks much higher levels of ambition for our children. Over the next few years, our planning department will issue billions of pounds of new developments, will authorise them for large and small developers alike. And these developments will exist for 50 years plus. A responsibility as a planning authority to define development and land use. This can influence up to 80% of carbon emissions for the next 50 years. It can cause us to be aligned with Paris's 1.5 degrees centigrade or completely mess it up for our children. It can stimulate a vibrant economy, circular economy, providing jobs for our children, or kill local businesses stone dead. Our planning regulations can protect residents from the impact of extreme heat predicted by the Met Office. 40 to 45 degrees heat, drought, cold of -10, -20, extreme rain and flooding. Or we can cause our residents to suffer and die because of extra illnesses and increased morbidity. Thousands of excess heat and cold deaths are predicted and they're already happening. We have a reduction in productivity, reduction in earnings, the ability to concentrate, increase fuel costs, and permanently lower education achievement of our children. Alternatively, our regulations can stimulate a recovery in our ecosystems and protect food production in the UK, or it can contribute towards biodiversity loss, which is heading towards extinction levels as predicted by the RSPB, resulting in food shortages and increased costs of living. So our planning process has immense power to achieve success or to provide for significant failure for our children who will be living in this time in the future. Let me for a moment give you a clearer understanding of biodiversity and its radical importance. We'll understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how if you don't get the basics right, none of the rest is possible. So here's a simplified version of the biodiversity hierarchy. Now remember, each level needs to be 1,000 times bigger to sustain the level above it. So on the top, we have, and simplifies this, on the top we have human and apex predators, carnivores and omnivores, who eat everything else. Then we have row 2, primary consumers such as herbivores, sheep, cows, they eat row 3. Row 3 are the primary producers, plants, trees, bushes, chlorophyllic species, but they depend on row 4. And yes, there is actually a row 4 and a row 5, which we never consider. Row 4 decomposes the bacteria and fungi, which recycle the nutrients for those plants. And they rely on the fact that there is huge amounts of habitat and soil. Otherwise, they have nowhere to survive. So if we take away all of that habitat, we're going to reduce the value of human life and even life on Earth. Now, hopefully you see that biodiversity net gain in the new light now. It's an oxymoron, which shows a catastrophic failure of understanding and a willful destruction of biodiversity. You just increase one species, no, you've got it wrong. You've got to increase the habitat. Habitat then results in an upward improvement for all of the other species. But fret not, habitat can be horizontal or vertical, and solutions are already available through other local authorities in the UK and around the world. But we must set the ambition for success, not for failure for our children. Now, members, I want you to tell our children that you understand the future that we will cause them to face by taking action or not taking action. Members, I want you to show our children your commitment to them by voting for this resolution to increase our ambition levels in this key segment of our council. So here are the key aspects of the motion. To include a biodiversity assessment, Mr. Point, to call for radical improvements in our processes and continually improve them, to include a biodiversity assessment, cognizant of the issue of biodiversity hierarchy, not biodiversity net gain, to include climate change mitigation assessments to protect our residents and our workers from extreme heat, cold, drought, and precipitation, to employ the best practice then available in targeting the highest levels of mitigation, keeping them up to date with the fast-moving climate tipping points.
You are the time now.
Okay, can I just read one more thing, then I'll stop.
Say one sentence.
Okay, the benefits are clear. Building buildings that are fit for purpose with zero carbon emissions and protect residents. And the dangers of this critical time is that we will cause additional suffering, death, and poverty. Thank you.